Time to mount the fretboard onto the neck. I took the nut out of the packaging and I just took the fretboard on, and in order to figure out the placement, you can see where the cut is. This is cut this way and then it slants down to the headstock. So I basically take the nut and I put it to where, right before the break of the headstock angle. Back there. Make sure it's flush. And then I take a pencil and I mark that spot, which I did off camera. And I know that's a good spot. I will double check it, because you want the nut to sit flat against the wood here. If it's back too far, it won't sit flush. So it's got to sit flush up against the fretboard and against the body. And if it didn't, you can always file the angle on the nut till it's set the way you want it. And I'm going to use this rubber band to bind it together. The first thing I want to do is, the rough finish is actually pretty good as far as the gluing, but you can see there's a little knot here and a hole. I don't necessarily want to round over the edges because I want to have a flat surface for this, and I still need to scrape the back of this once I find a razor blade. But for now, this part is a little bit smoother and this part's a little rougher, so I'm just going to take some sandpaper, make it a little bit more uniform. And you can see how it's kind of eaten up down here. I don't want to change the angles of it because I checked it for square and level, and it's pretty good. And also has some burrs here and some burrs here, and we'll take care of that. And you can see where there's a little chip out there from the factory. That, once I have it all on the uke, I could take a file and square that up. I'm not too worried about that kind of stuff. It's all stuff that could be cleaned up as we go. Definitely good and square, at least against the table and looking down at it. All right, let me pause the camera and get a razor blade. I'll knock off any of the high spots of my over crazy gluing. As long as it's smooth, it'll glue down. That one's a little crunchy. That's smooth. All right. No, nothing crunchy there anymore. So we glue it up, glue on each side, but we don't glue the whole back because we're not going to mount it on the body yet. So it looks like 5, 7, 10, 12, 13, 14th fret. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape there. This way I know to not glue past that. Should have thinned this out, it spreads a lot better. But that's okay. There we go. I'll put a thin layer on this. Thin layer on the back of the neck, or the neck. And we should be good. Figuring with that much glue, shouldn't have to be super picky. I don't want to get too close to the line because there's going to be squeeze out, and we're also going to glue the nut in. And there's already glue on that, so I can hopefully limit some of the squeeze out. There you go. I'm sliding it up to the mark. Making sure that the fretboard's level side to side. And hopefully I can find this on camera without having to get up. I'm just going to do a soft wrap for now, and then I can start tensioning and keeping it square. As far as the run out on the neck, the squeeze out, we'll have to deal with that afterwards and try not to get glue all over the neck, because I have done that and it's a pain. There we go. Nice and tight. Try to limit that. Okay, let me get a rag, try to get some of that up. Okay, a damp sponge. There we go. And let's get this. Try to get it off anywhere that I made a mess. And I'm looking all right. And I have more of these green rubbers, which I will use so I can bind it nice and tight. I'm getting a lot of squeeze out, so it may not look like there's tension here, but there's lots of tension underneath the ones. And it's a hard piece to work with. And let's see if I can't. There we go. Take. I will have a lot of wood glue scraping to do. And but I could see an even glue squeeze out on both sides, so that I will not touch for till tomorrow at some point when I know it's nice and solid.